Battlefield 2042 really messed up their E3 launch, and I don't think anyone really realized it at the time. It was only when I saw the reactions afterwards I realized what had happened. The launch at E3 was really appealing to classic fans. If you didn't like Battlefield 1 and 5, the World War era shooters that we've had recently, then this was telling you that 2042 isn't that. They'd realized the mistakes they'd made, they'd heard the player feedback, and they were going back to what Battlefield used to be. Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. Those are the games that I played. That is the era that I got interested in Battlefield. And all of the moments from the trailers were from there. It didn't really attract new players, though. New players that had only seen the recent Battlefields had an idea of what it was, and so they saw the trailers and thought, that was insane. A guy jumping out of a jet and rocketing another one, then getting back in the jet? That was stupid to them. They didn't realize that that was a key aspect of Battlefield. Those kind of moments are why people do play Battlefield. That's what keeps them interested. The messaging was great in getting the core player base back, but not new people. And they'd missed out something amazing. They wanted something for EA Play, and they released it. And honestly, they really should have led with this at E3. This is the meat. This is a bigger announcement for me than the actual game. I said early on when I said at E3, what I wanted was mods, and I never expected to get it. But I got it, and so much more. This could really be entering not just a new era of Battlefield, but a new era of FPS. If this catches on, if we can get this back, then we could really enter a new golden age of gaming, like we used to have with Quake 3, when these tools were standard, when this was expected. Before it was all cut away so that developers could start selling DLCs and everything else, because the players made the content, and that content was always coming, it was always new, it was always fresh, and they made modes that no developer ever would. Jailbreak, freeze tag, instagib, you don't see these modes anymore. Developers don't do this kind of stuff. And I don't know why, because they were the most popular modes. But now, we could make that in Battlefield. But this isn't just simple modding tools. They're going a lot further than that. So let's get into the content and what they're doing, and then we'll talk about what it means for the industry later on. First up, they're bringing back classic maps, which isn't that unusual, but the games that they're bringing back content from, at least at the moment, is Battlefield 1942, Bad Company 2, and Battlefield 3. Now, Bad Company 2 was my favourite. It was the game that I entered the series on, and I also like Battlefield 4, but Battlefield 3 is where a lot of people thought the game went downhill, so they've definitely chosen the most popular to start with. And the maps are Battle of the Bulge, El Alamein from 1942, Africa Harbour and Valparaiso, don't know how to pronounce that, from Bad Company 2, and Caspian Border and Noshaar Canals on Battlefield 3. And it's not just maps they're bringing back the characters, the soldiers and the armies from it. You've got 1942's UK, US, Germany, you've got Bad Company 2's US and Russia. All these can fight off against each other, and in this new mode you can mix and match. So if you like something from 1942, now you can have them in against 2042 or Bad Company 2, or you could just relive the base experience from something like Bad Company 2 in the new graphics, the new engine. And honestly, the classic experience with an updated feature, essentially remaking the old game, is as good as anything else. Lots of people sell that as just a game on its own. But with everything else, all of these are force multipliers, which just make everything else better. Like, we're getting over 40 weapons back from those, including the Grand, the G3, M416, which was always one of my staples in Bad Company 2. You've got 40 vehicles, the Spitfire B-17 bomber against quad bikes and little birds. There's over 30 gadgets coming back, so you're going to see the EOD bot, which was always a laugh to chase people around and kill people with. There's trolling in general, mavs and radio beacons. And they're also bringing back the classes, because obviously in 2042, we are not having the classes. It's moved into class of stuff, but in these games it existed. So if you want the classic experience, then you have to bring back things like the Assault, Engineer, Support, Recon, and their associated weapon limitations. If you choose. And I say if you choose, because they're also adding in what they're calling a logic engine, and you'll be able to essentially customize everything that the developers allow you to, which I'll talk about later on. But some of the things you can change are things like gravity. You can remove ADS. You can stop people going prone and everything else. You can limit the size of teams. You can change people's health. You can set it up so that you've got 20 EOD bots against one tank. You can force certain vehicles or just prevent other ones. If you want something like an instagib mode from Quake 3, then why not just have a sniper rifle. Hopefully you can change the firing speed on it and everything else. That would be awesome. So you can now customize its firing speed, one-shot kill everybody, change it with anti-grav or in speed the player movement speed. You could probably make your own little Quake 3 kind of maps, have people bouncing off walls, try and imitate Titanfall movement. You're only limited by the creativity of the audience. And because this requires no map tools, you don't have to install this on a PC, it's all done in your browser, it allows even console players to get involved with this. So the amount of people that could have it, the creativity combined, is just going to completely and utterly surpass anything the developers are capable of. And while in something like Warzone, I'm still waiting for a new map, they still haven't come up with a new map, they've just kind of modified the old one a bit. In this, you could actually have the developers work on this tool, open it up, give all of the possibilities you can, open up every single variable they can possibly change, and hopefully in the future, make a level editor, because those two really multiply the effect of each other as well. And then you've just got the players to do the rest. The players come up with the creativity. They go back to all of their favorite games, get all their favorite modes, and import them across. And from Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament, the mods that were available there, there's just so many classic modes that you can have. And because this has bots, and all the bots are capable in this, you don't have the issue of your server starting off empty and no one finding your mode. The best mods really do rise to the surface, and then people will iterate on those and improve them. And I've seen some people complain that there was no BR for Battlefield. Well, that's not true anymore. Why not just make a BR mode? I know streamers especially, they like streaming that kind of mode, and like, well, I'd probably just go back to Warzone because I just want to play BRs for hours and hours and don't want to play anything else. Each to their own. But now you can do that in this. Like, there's no way someone won't make a BR in this. And so while we have had it leaked what each season of Battlefield will include, which is 1 specialist, 2 new maps, 2 portal maps, Hazard Zone update, which is the story-driven mode apparently, 6 to 8 new weapons, 2 to 3 new vehicles, and obviously the 100 season tiers of skins and emotes and everything else that come as standard now in an FPS season pass. On top of all of that, now you have the constant pumping out of content from players. And this is something that could stay with Battlefield into the future. If there's a new game, it doesn't mean losing the content of the old one anymore. You can just integrate it all across. With every new game, Battlefield can expand. With every day, Battlefield can expand, as long as they keep updating the tool. Then we could be entering not just a new era of Battlefield, but a new era of FPS. If we can get console players to get used to mods, then they will start demanding them in every new game. And I know a lot of people have fallen out of favor from them. And now a lot of people are just used to queuing up for a certain selected mode that you've been given. Not used to browsing servers and choosing the best ones that they prefer at the time. No, they just want to press a button and get into the game. But if this can become the standard, if we can get players used to this, like it used to be, where it was expected of a game to have mod tools and level editing tools, that was standard. Gaming was better then, because the options, the availability, and the content were all better. Then we really could be entering a time where you actually don't want to make an FPS without these tools. This existed in a form of Overwatch before, and I hope that Battlefield at least replicates what Overwatch has, and then expands on it in the future. Because it's a far bigger game, with developers that hopefully don't run away to work on their next game like has happened in Overwatch, where they've just let it die. In Overwatch, they added these tools once the game was already dead. For a game to launch with this kind of stuff is massive. Now, I'm not saying they can't mess it up. They definitely could. Very simple things like UI can destroy this kind of thing. If it's treated as a side mode, if they hide it underneath lots of menus, treat it like, oh, it's just a random addition we put in, then this could very well die out. But if it's treated as a main part of the game, which to me it is, I would have put this front and center. This would have been the core experience for me. Like, yes, we've made 2042 and all this new stuff, but we expect that to be used in combination with all the other classic stuff. We expect you to mess with it and play with it and make it better. That's how I would have pitched this. That's how I would make the UI. If they do that, then this could really be a game changer for all of FPS space. So we're not out of the woods. I'm not saying it's a certainty. I'm saying that this is Battlefield's to lose. They could easily become the biggest FPS with stuff like this. If you don't like Battlefield for any reason, you can now fix it. You can literally make your perfect game if you really want to. And if you don't want to do that, someone else probably already will do it as well, because anything you like, other people are going to like it. And people will put a lot of effort and time into making these modes. And they come up with some crazy stuff that you just can't predict. So yeah, you'll get your normal zombies and jailbreaks and freeze tag and all the rest, but there'll be new modes invented out of this that could become entire genres. And that is solely in the hands of Battlefield and how they implement it and how they support it. But if they do it right, if they can nail it, if they can get the UI, if they can get the player base to realize that this is the core of the game, that the stuff that you can get with this is so much better than anything they could produce, then not only will they have players which are literally loyal for years, but those players will then go and buy the DLCs, they'll buy the season passes. This is a win-win for everybody. But if they treat it like a side gig, if they treat it like a side feature, if they treat it in a menu hidden away in a complex server browser which nobody uses because there's quite frankly too much to do, if they make it difficult to share, if they make it difficult to find new modes, to find the most popular modes, then they could just kill this. So this is in their hands, and while the content is an obvious win, the implementation will now be what matters. I am very excited for this and the content that they've made. This is an amazing idea, and it really shows that they realized what they destroyed with their previous games and the marketing that they did. And whoever they fired or whoever they hired has really changed both the marketing and the messaging to show, look, we realized what we did, we realized we messed up, and we're getting back to what was good. And they've gone above and beyond what I expected for this game by a mile. This entire announcement is huge. And now the only thing I hope for, like all the content is there. As long as they support this and nail the implementation, then quite frankly, as a Battlefield fan, I could not be happier with it. All I hope now is that you just don't mess this up. But for now, that's it from me. If you liked the video, press like, subscribe for more videos in the future, and let me know what you think of Battlefield Portal down below. And the marketing so far, are you excited for the game, or are you thinking, actually I'll just stick with Warzone? Let me know, I'm interested in finding out, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, bye-bye.